Good morning. Thank you for coming. Committee will come to order. Before we get started on the business of the committee this morning, I want to express from myself, Mr. Larson, Mr. Schuster, and Mr. DeFazio our deepest condolences to the victims and families of those who lost their lives in the crash of Germanwings Flight 9525 in southern France. We don't have a lot of details. We know it was a terrible tragedy. We will be closely monitoring the investigation. Aviation safety has and will always continue to be a top priority of this subcommittee. Over the last year, the subcommittee has held a series of roundtables and hearings on the state of our nation's air traffic control system and identifying the challenges the FAA has faced in modernization and next-gen implementation. While we are currently enjoying the safest air traffic control system in the world, we should be striving to also be the most efficient that we can be. Historically, the United States has been the leader in aviation. However, the record is mixed on where we stand today. For decades, policymakers and stakeholders have almost unanimously recognized the need to modernize our radar-based World War II-era ATC system. The FAA has been attempting to modernize the system since 1981. The DOT Office of Inspector General, the Government Accountability Office, and numerous bipartisan federal airline commissions found that FAA's progress with delivering planned next-gen capabilities has encountered a number of delays, cost increases, and failure to provide promised benefits to the traveling public and industry stakeholders. In testimony before this subcommittee last year, DOT Inspector General Scoville warned that next-gen implementation costs for government and industry, initially estimated at $20 billion for each, could double or even triple, and that next-gen implementation may take an additional decade, something I don't think any of us believe is acceptable. While stakeholders unanimously support next-gen, they have been unable to agree on how to address these well-documented implementation obstacles. As Chairman Schuster has stated, the committee has an historic opportunity to drive the institutional change needed to ensure that we have the very best ATC system in the world. 3 years of federal budget disputes have included the FAA's decision in April 2013 to furlough 10% of its air traffic controller workforce and nearly close 149 contract towers to meet sequester-driven budgetary cuts. The partial shutdown of the FAA in August 2011 and scheduled delays and cost overruns that continue to plague FAA's modernization and next-gen implementation efforts. These are distressing realities, but may be just the impetus needed to drive change, specifically whether it is time to transform and or transfer the air traffic control function of the FAA, currently managed by Air Traffic Organization. The United States is the only developed country whose ATC system can become a political football, frequently held hostage to federal budget disputes like the sequester, which threaten not only the ongoing operations of the ATC system, but also the successful implementation of NextGen. I believe, and I know Chairman Schuster believes, that unless we reform our ATC system's governance and funding structures, we risk failure in implementing NextGen and its full benefits to the country. While there may not be consensus among stakeholders yet on the type of model that the U.S. should pursue, there's a growing consensus that comprehensive financing and governance reforms are needed. Furthermore, there's an acknowledgement that we are not fully using FAA assets and expertise readily available, including the FAA Flagship Technical Center in my district, to the fullest to resolve these vexing issues. We can and must do better. I look forward to hearing from the witnesses their thoughts on different opinions and options for reform of our nation's air traffic control system. Let me emphasize that ensuring we continue to have the safest aviation system in the world will drive the ATC reform debate in the months ahead. As the subcommittee seeks to address these long-standing obstacles to ATC modernization and next-gen implementation in the next FAA reauthorization bill, there are questions that we need to address at today's hearing. Does the United States have the best governance and funding structure in place to deliver the most efficient, most modern ATC system while ensuring the safest system in the world? Have the ATC models used by other countries enhance safety and efficiency? And if so, can the best attributes of these models be adopted by the United States without adversely impacting safety? And before I recognize Mr. Larson for his comments, I ask unanimous consent that all members have 5 legislative days to revise and extend their remarks and include extraneous material for the record of this hearing. Without objection, so ordered. Now I'd like to recognize Mr. Larson for any opening remarks.